Ah, hello once again and welcome to the fire. In war, attacking an enemy's morale can be a really good battle tactic, such as in this following story. So my players started a World War II/World War I style propaganda campaign, r/dndstories, posted by Noob with a Cube. The command tent. A young soldier steps inside, is made of the collective hides of a small herd of boars, is lit by the tiny warm flame of an oil lamp. A hobgoblin general sits in her ornamental plate armor, trumming her fingers on the armrests of a once grand wooden throne. Two bugbears stand to either side of the large ornate chair, slapping their Morningstar handles against their palms in time with their war leader's rhythmic unrest. Go on, Lieutenant. Finish what you were saying. V. Dressa, war leader, war mother, chosen of Magalubiet, beckoned to the hobgoblin messenger through grit teeth. Yes, war mother. It seems some sort of flock of winged lizards drop cotton balls all over camp. They speak when someone of the appropriate race gets near them, ma'am. They contain messages from the bugbears, goblins, and hobgoblins of the wolf cult, beckoning our voices to come and join them in peace instead of attacking. Some speak of bountiful food, many of the goblin voice balls speaking of equality. The young adult hobgoblin spoke in a wavering tone as the woman with only the barest streak of silver hair gripped her throne's armrest with force enough to cause them to burst into splinters. Vidressa let a low growl spill out from her throat as she slowly stood. Fetch me the leaders of the divisions. The messenger jumped and shook more, causing the war mother to look at him with a suspicious eye, not saying a word as her stare commanded him to speak. Ma'am, the goblin workforce's leader and the majority of his lumberers are among those who have already departed camp. We have caught a few of the stragglers, but we have lost a majority of our lumberjacks as well. The young man bites his thumb, trying to look away before continuing. The commander of the left hobgoblin left wing has also split off with 12 of his most highly trained commandos. We found this in his tent. Vidressa held out her gauntlet palm as the terrified messenger placed a rag-wrapped ball of wet cotton into her hand. She swiftly yanked the cloth from the soft mess to be greeted with a message. The voice of an elderly hobgoblin man can be heard, raspy and tired. Join us, and never send children off to be fodder for an unloving god or chief ever again. Letting out a guttural roar of rage, she smashed the cotton ball. Small chunks of bent metal fall out of the cotton as she throws it to the ground. Put the camp on lockdown. Have Commander Grok personally destroy everyone with his warhammer. If anyone tries to leave camp, detain them. And if they are in possession of one of these things, crucify them publicly. Have them line the roads of the camp so the rest of them know the price of desertion. The messenger nods and bows deeply, his forehead touching the ground. He dare not say anything more and ran out of the command tent. The flutter of the boar hides behind him, he quickly ran towards the commander of the bugbears, Grohulik. The scarred bugbear bent down toward the hobgoblin, the scar over his left eye rendering it blind. Well then, what brings you to the burrow? Are we to ride early? Were we attacked? The massive hair mound of muscle and flesh asked.
The War Mother has asked you to search down the cotton balls that fell from the sky. She wants you to smash all the cotton you run into.
The messenger stated clearly, not saying any more than he was commanded to. The bugbear harumphed, leaning back against the log wall surrounding the Hydra and Warg camp. I don't see the point in smashing nothing that don't sound good when we do it. Cotton, soft and don't smash good. Still, she is the boss. The large bugbear shouldered his hammer, walking out into the main camp to do as he was commanded. His insistence that any job worth doing was worth doing right was in paradoxically both direct opposition as well as completely intertwined in his bugbear nature. The messenger had seen him in battle before, and even when tasked with destroying the smallest of foes or defending the most seemingly unimportant of positions, he completed his task with a burning furor. Knowing that the War Mother had tasked him with one more item to do, the messenger quickly ran to the second in command, or now commander, of the Hobgoblin forces. The thought that no matter what he did, if he didn't complete the task she had assigned him, that she would personally hunt him down for such a failure never left his thoughts. Quickly informing the woman that they were to lock down the camp and to execute the deserters, the messenger added one last thing. Also, before you locked everything down, I'm to go and get enough water for the next few days. Apparently, it will help keep everyone in one place if we do it now, the messenger told the overburdened and very new commander. She waved the young man off, and the messenger left her presence with a smile. Taking his little sister and two childhood friends from their deep green tents, they quickly disappeared into the night, in the opposite direction of the lake. This is just my second post, so I hope people like it. It's also sort of a sequel to my first ever post on here. This is the story of how my players responded when facing an invading goblinoid army of 300 from an enemy soldier's perspective. They have 4 barrels of gunpowder, their village has a flock of flying kobolds, and instead of doing the obvious, the artificer took the ritual caster wizard feat, and he and the wizard then used ritual casting, created 5 magic mouse an hour for 2 days. Then the group took off with the help of some flight with their kobolds and bombarded the enemies with cotton balls filled with magic mouse. Without any input whatsoever, these players, 2 of which whom have only been playing in my game for the last few months and have never even touched a TTRPG before, have unleashed a propaganda campaign that would make the allies in World War II clap. First, they had the bugbears, goblins, and hobgoblins all record the messages for the mouse. Then they wrapped them in cotton and tied them up. They found out where the enemy camp was by taking out an unscrupulous mercenary on the way to them and taking their map. So instead of a massive game with horde rules that I made dozens of macros specifically for, or invade the enemy camp, which I designed when my players started to get exceptionally worried about being outnumbered at best 3-1, they recruited them. Roles were all legit. They shaved off a total of 112 of the enemy forces, numbering slightly over 300. They have, without shedding a drop of blood, effectively evened out the playing field, and they plan on doing it again. Well, they may have underestimated the willpower of a zealot on a crusade from their deity, but this should be fun. Anyone have any ideas on how a zealot who believes they have been personally blessed by Magalubiet on a quest to vanquish an up-and-coming demigod would respond. I was so surprised by this, I'm still at a loss after having to quantify enemy morale. Much like the first story, I really enjoyed this one. As for my suggestion, perhaps have the zealot then double down and begin a scorch earth tactic with their remaining forces, and perhaps even become more delusional with their faith to the extreme. And that's our story. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more future content. Also, if you would kindly follow the socials posted in the description, that would be amazing. As always, be good, be great, be awesome.